In this video, I'm going to show you the two major mistakes that people make when they're trying to quit their scrolling addiction. And it's because I went through these mistakes myself, and I can help you get out of it. I went from scrolling from 8 to 12 hours a day to nowadays, I help other people quit procrastinating, quit the scrolling addiction, and to finally take action. And here are some of my reviews. I can help you just like I helped all those other people. So, the first major mistake that I made when trying to stop my scrolling addiction was that the binge fallacy caught me off guard. The binge fallacy is whenever you end up binging a little bit over what you wanted. So let's say you have a big box of chocolates in front of you, and let's say you only allow yourself to eat 1 or 2 chocolates a day. But let's say today you're not really feeling good, you're kind of bored, you don't have much to do. And so in your mind, you just get an urge to just eat 1 more. And so you do. You pick up the chocolate, put it in your mouth, and it feels nice. But then your brain is like, well, you already ate 1. What's 1 more, right? You already went over the limit for today. You pick 1 up, put it in your mouth, and you like it. And so your brain tells you to eat 1 more. And so you see this cycle continues. You're binging, right? You only allowed yourself to eat 1 or 2. But the moment you ate 1 more over that, your brain is like, well, I already messed up for the day. Let's eat the whole box. And so that's what you do. You go ahead, eat 1 by 1 the whole box. And by the end of it, you're like, what the hell? What did I do? The problem, the mistake here is that when you messed up, you went over your limit. You went way over the limit. So let's say, putting this in scrolling terms, let's say your goal is to scroll for 5 hours a day. Just like you're decreasing it slowly but surely. By the way, that's one of the best ways to stop scrolling, is to slowly decrease the amount of time you spend week by week. Even by half an hour a week is huge progress. So let's say your goal is 5 hours. But let's say you were like watching a video on YouTube and you went, let's say 15 minutes over the goal. The mistake here, and that this has happened subconsciously, by the way, it's not even an active thing. The actual mistake is not realizing that this happens. Let's say you go 15 minutes over and you decide to scroll for 11 hours that day. And it only happened because you just went 15 minutes over. The mistake here is not realizing what the binge fallacy is. The binge fallacy is when you binge a little, you end up binging a lot. The thing here is when you go over your limit, let's say you mess up on a day, the mistake is to not get back on track. So you can mess up, but not getting back on track is the problem. When you scroll that extra 15 minutes over, that should be the end of it. In your mind, you shouldn't think that the goal is 5 hours or else the day is ruined. No. You should just think 5 hours is what I'm aiming for. But if I go a little over or under it, that's amazing. At least I'm around there. And again, considering that I myself spent 8 to 12 hours a day beforehand scrolling, even if 5 hours a day was a huge accomplishment for me. Just remember that messing up your goal isn't the problem. The problem is binging until you get to the point where you used to be, or even worse than before. Now, the second mistake is way out in the future. So let's say you've been ending your scrolling addiction, you've been working hard, you've been reducing it step by step. And eventually you're at the point where you're only scrolling for 1 to 3 hours a day. Amazing, honestly, I'm proud of you. The mistake here isn't going all the way. You might as well aim for 0 at that point. When you're scrolling for 10 hours a day, don't even think about ending it completely. Don't go cold turkey, because you're not going to make it. You're going to do it for 1 or 2 days, and then you're going to feel extremely bored and you're going to scroll for 12 hours the next day. Don't do it, okay? I'm talking to the people who are already near, or at least close to being near 1 to 3 hours a day scrolling. At that point, you can actually aim for 0. And again, it's not like an instant thing, like tomorrow you scroll for 0, but maybe the next day or the next week, you go for only 30 minutes. I'm just saying the end goal should be 0 because, again, related to the binge fallacy, Let's say one day you're not feeling good. On those days where you're not feeling good, whether it's because you lack the discipline or you're just in a rut, it doesn't matter. One day you're going to lack the discipline it takes to stay on the goal, and randomly you're going to scroll for 7, 8, 12 hours. Just like that. But that only happens because you allowed yourself to scroll, when it's easier to go for 0 than to only stick with 1. That's the mistake here. It's easier to abstain than to moderate. Because going for 0, you can't. The only way you can mess up 0 is if you make the active choice to go on the app. But to wait to mess up going for 3 hours and you end up going for 6 is, let's say you're watching an interesting video and the video is like an hour long, but you say, oh, just after this video, I'll just finish this video and then I'll turn off my phone. But then you click on the next video thinking, oh, I'll just watch one more video. And this spirals out of control. Like, just the thought, just a simple urge can get you to mess up when you're scrolling a little bit, versus when you're scrolling a zero amount, then the only urge you can get is to even scroll at all. And that's honestly easier. It's easier to resist the urge to start scrolling than it is to keep scrolling. Because when you're already scrolling, it's hard to stop. It's like a train on some railroad tracks. It's hard to stop a train. It takes a lot of force, but it's also hard to start. So if you just don't get the train running in the first place, it's going to be so much easier for you to completely stop. And if you want my personal help in avoiding these mistakes and multiple more that I made on my scrolling journey, then you can do so by clicking the link in the description.